and welcome. Hello and welcome everyone to the Bumbleskum Morning Design Show. I am your host, Bumbleskum, and today it's a nice, it's a nice 50 degrees out. I think it's supposed to get up to 70 here up where I'm from. It's gonna be a nice day, I think. We had a very intense lightning storm last night, but the looks of it says, we'll have some humidity. Oh, that's gonna be rough. But no, sorry, my hair is just being goofy as hell right now. But we'll survive. We're used to that kind of weather up there. I'm up there. It's here. Yeah. So I just starting the morning nice. Got myself a cup of coffee. I'm letting it cool down a bit. This time I remember to start it earlier, but I forgot to pour my coffee until right before this, so it's still hot and I still can't drink it. And in the mornings I need a good beverage, so that kind of sucks. But that's fine. I don't really mind too much. So let me I'm just adjusting some of my panels here today. I'm going to be talking about a few things when it comes to design. There was a topic that really got my goat yesterday. It's nothing like bad. It's just it was something that a lot of people were suggesting that I fully disagreed with. And I will get to that. I kind of want to also go over something interesting. It's no secret I'm a Paizo stan. I love Pathfinder. I yearn to play Pathfinder again, but I don't always get to do that because all my friends play just D&D. That's their fantasy game. That's what they've started with. That's what they play. I'm sorry. I'm just filling in something on my end. How are you all today? Doing pretty good? Got yourself a good morning? Got yourself a nice cup of coffee? Yeah, it's 4ish a.m. It's 4:12 for me right now by this point. So it's pretty early in the morning. I've set this up so I do this before work. I've been wanting to do a morning show for a while. This is episode 2. But it's so far it's gone pretty well. I'm glad I've been able to wake up for it. It's an interesting thing to do. I'm just advertising real quick somewhere. That's not how you spell it. I think that's right. I think I goofed that up. Oh, there it is. Okay, so on the docket today, and I'm going to try this out. I've never done this specifically. I'm going to try and drag something on the screen here. And I'm not using something that I normally would, but I'm curious. Let's see here. Did that work? I don't think that worked. Try it again. The answer seems to be a resounding, this does not work. Okay, so I might just add in a little screen thing here. No, not that one. Window capture. Because there's something I want to show you guys that I'm interested in. Like I said about the Pathfinder stuff, and that has to do with the in-game or in-store support. It's not you. There we go. Sorry, this is a bit large. We don't need the whole thing here. So I'm gonna see if we can't get this. Oh, know what? I wonder if I can zoom in here. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. Let's put this up right here. So, in something I wish Paizo did as a company was more local game store support. Wizards, I think, does a lot of really good things, and for example, is these alternate covers, which are for local game stores. They're supposed to be exclusives for local game stores. I don't know exactly how well that works out, but Paizo, however, they've got a subscription model straight from their website, so you can just get updated books from them directly. They're pretty much an online friendly retailer, directly from them to you. And the hobby, it's good to be accessible, but the hobby kind of, for a lot of people, starts with their game store and finding things in there that appeal to them. 5th edition started doing these alternate covers, which are fantastic, absolutely beautiful. I have several times almost got into 5th edition because of these books, sooner than I did. I have all my stuff through D&D Beyond, so I don't fully it's not worth hunting down these books, to be honest, or starting fresh, because I just get all my stuff through D&D Beyond right now, so it's all online, and I'm fine with that. I don't think there's a world where 6th edition's out or something, and I don't have access to 5th edition stuff anymore, and I'm like, oh, I really want to get into a 5th edition game. Yeah, I don't think there's a world where that happens, so I'm not too worried. Like, I've got a few, 4th edition stuff, and they had a program similar to D&D Beyond, and I'm not, like, sad about not playing it. I mean, I look at them for reference a lot for certain things, so there's that. But overall, I'm not too worried, if that makes sense. However, I absolutely would have never gotten D&D Beyond stuff had I gotten these from the start. And that's because these things are appealing and they're exclusive, and gosh, those are pretty. I know people who don't have them all, but they collect these every time a book comes out. This is what they get. They get these fresh books, these fresh covers. I just want to talk about how sleek these look, though. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I look at them and they're so beautiful. They're like black. Sorry, I'm like sniffing into the mic. My nose is like weirdly dry. That's hot. I'm a baby when it comes to hot beverages. But it's so sleek with the black and like just the simplified colors and flats. Really good. Really good. I love him. I'm just gonna close out of that one. I'm gonna go into the next. No, it's the Essentials kit. That's something else. Goes to Salt Marsh. So there's a few of them that do them completely different. Like Goes to Salt Marsh here, where they make it look very retro, like it really is like a 2nd edition module. And it's good. I like it. I think it's not as sleek, and I've seen this image online for a bit, and I actually didn't realize that this was the 5th edition alt cover. I thought it was like either fan made or like actually from some kind of collection from earlier, and no, I was so wrong. It's no, but that's how good it is. Like, that's how retro it feels. It's not as pretty, I'll admit. If I saw this on the shelf, I wouldn't probably pick it up. But if I was collecting the alt covers, I absolutely would have gotten this. it is neat. It's neat. I like how it is. So Paizo has special edition covers. They're like these red faux leather bound books with gold printing, and they're good. I like them. Here, let me bring up where are you? Candlekeep does something actually similar with theirs, where they have that kind of specialized cover. Unfortunately, I don't have right off the top of my hand a cover. Like, I think the back has something on it too, and I just can't remember what exactly. I don't have the image up offhand, so it's hard to like showcase. But I just think it's like such a good incentive to like help out like local stores, is by saying this is where you can get them. Because when you're at a local game store, you're usually there. You're usually hanging out. You're not just buying the product you came here for. You buy drinks, you buy snacks, you hang out, you do all sorts of different things, and you end up spending like, I'm gonna get some dice, I'm gonna get some card sleeves. This is a nice mat, this is a nice thing. I mean, yeah, it's like that thing of like you keep spending more and more money, but like that's it. It's just good incentive to get you in there and playing. And also, I think I don't know. I can't speak. I guess I shouldn't speak necessarily on that. I was gonna say, I think Wizards supports the Adventures League or whatever D&D's version is called, with local stores a little bit more pronounced than Paizo does, but I don't actually know. So I decided don't quote me on that. I have no idea why my nose itches so bad. Where am I looking at this? Sorry, I'm just going through all these covers because they're sick as hell. This one's neat. It's a little bit smaller. It's got all the foes. It's neat. It's alright. I mean, I think it's better than the Ghost of Saltmarsh version, for sure. New tab. Xanathar's Guide. I really like the Xanathar's Guide to Everything one cover. That is so neat to me, because it's like it's Xanathar with his eyes, and for the body it's his pet fish, which I think is fascinating. Just really cool design and nod. Also, the lines and the cover to me read so hard like a 1920s German expressionist film. Like this has Metropolis vibes going on. It's like that 1920s look to it, of shine and polish. So I thought that was interesting, especially the kind of city that Xanathar lives in and the work he does. It's a very interesting mix or take on the book. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, look at the Bull's Guide to Monsters. This one leaves me wanting. I think it's cool. I like the cover still, but it's the one that leaves me wanting. There's no like Volo on it. I don't know. There's not. Okay, yeah. So some of these covers, and this is what the cover is on the cover. Some of these covers are just different expressions of what's on the normal cover. But this one's not. This one's just an Ithalid. Nothing. No giant. No Volo. So I thought that was it's the one that leaves me wanting out of all of them. Still sleek, just not as interesting. That's not it either. Candlekeep, before I looked at. Candlekeep, it's one of the ones that they tried doing something very different with, and this one's supposed to be like a fortune teller type like you'd see at a carnival, like that kind of aesthetic to it, of like mysteries, things like that. I think it's an interesting take. Here, let me look at this one. And then they started doing a little bit more different with like specialized artwork instead of that, which I don't know how I feel about it yet. I think I do prefer the sleek flats design, but I think the change kind of, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's not like it's bad. It's still cool. I like it more, and it's still like something you know, it's a collectible. And they do different things, like you see these crows with the chandelier type, you know, looking thing at the bottoms and the top, the crowns. It's interesting. I prefer it to the regular cover, I think. Oh yeah, absolutely prefer it to that cover. I do like the sleek stuff more. They're kind of moving away from that though, I think, just in general. Just experiment or something. I don't know how the sales are from that end, so it's hard to depict. But like, you got Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. It's interesting because you got, oh my gosh, the patterns from the looms, the different styles, right? Yeah, no, I agree. I wish they would have stuck with that pattern of what they were going with. Like on a personal level, I prefer that uniform style. So that's something that kind of sucks. I mean, I hope. Oh yeah, Frost Maiden. Like I said, yeah, it's beautiful. I like the sleekness. I'm glad that I think Frost Maiden is the last one to do this. Because then I think that's when they started moving off with Candlekeep, Van Richten's Guide, and Candlekeep, Van Richten's, and Tasha's Cauldron. Because that's when they started moving off into the alternate covers that are not the black ones with the flats. I guess Theros did something different too. So maybe I'm just dumb. I don't mind Theros though. I think it's interesting. I prefer it to the main cover. No, I get, like I said, and I've mentioned before, like you've got Mordenkainen's, and you've got like, where did I just find it? Mordenkainen's, and Saltmarsh, which were different also. So it's not like they've always just done the same thing, but I still prefer some kind of semblance of like adventure. Maybe it's like adventures are this kind of cover. Core books are this kind of cover. Like some kind of guide to that, I think is better. Let's see here. Ooh, the Eberron book. I like the Eberron cover though. See, this is a good way to be sleek and have artwork. Cause that's just gorgeous. That texture for the black oh my gosh, this is beautiful. This is how you make a setting book or anything like that, and also keep it sleek. They really could have taken lessons from their Eberron book. One of their Eberron books. I don't think the other one had a alternate cover. Ooh. Just that, like, it really puts you, like, you're looking into a window into this world. And you get to see this cool ass, just this red world. Dark Sun is Eberron, isn't it? I don't have my phone on me. I'm pretty sure Dark Sun and Eberron's the same world, but I might be stupid. I don't know for sure. Image new tab. Okay, Tyranny of Dragons. This one, it was one of their re-releases, I think, of Hoard of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat put together, and it is. Oh, I forgot my pop filter today. And it is. It's good. It's sleek. I wish they would have done more minimalism than they did, but I'm okay with it. I think it's fine though. It's not my favorite out of all of them. I think like Volo's Guide, it kind of just leaves me wanting a little bit better. And Descent into Avernus. Ooh, that's good. See, this is a good way to like add texture and like complexity to the imagery, while still keeping the basics of like minimalist like line design. Because this is good. I like this. This is sleek still. Ugh. Now, you know what? I'll let me just turn that off. I'm gonna bring up what the Paizo stuff looks like. It's not as interesting, to be honest. I specifically only bought one of their special books. And that's the GM's guide, just because I like, you know, GMing. So like, okay, I'll get the GM special cover. So like this. Every single Paizo book for their special editions, they all get a special edition, and it's just this faux leather hard book or hardcover with gold text, very similar to the Candlekeep. I think it's interesting. It's an interesting uniformity to them, like maybe something you'd see at like a law office, like the library of like volumes of stuff. Sorry, my hair's being goofy. But oh man. But it's just like I said, it's not great. I only have the GM's book, and that's the one that's shiny right here that you can see is the just the GM's book. But they also could have just done the same thing. I mean, like, you have to pay more for these. They're like a premium thing that you order online. But Paizo, you could help out local game stores just a bit more. Like, that's where your hobby starts from. Not as interesting when you don't, I guess, if that makes sense. It just leaves you lacking. There's so much cool stuff you could do. And I know you're not as big as Wizards. You can't always afford the same kind of stuff. I'm getting a lot of drops in frames, which I don't understand what's going on with that today. Is it my cam quality? Because I'm in Ultra HD, so I don't know if that's if that's a thing that has issues or not. Oh, good morning, the Bandit King, UK. Actually, I think it's afternoon for you right now, or almost 10-ish, 10 in the morning. If you're really from the UK, that is. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Because I know specifically the UK is 6 hours ahead of me. I was there for I was there for like 2 weeks once, and it was interesting. It was an interesting time. But yeah, so like going over these covers, it's we're in BST. Oh, yeah. So overall, I mean, going over these covers, I think some of these... Oh, yeah. Okay. Because we're in, daylight savings... No, we're not, are we? Yeah, we're in daylight savings time right now, so... These covers, overall, like I said, it's a way better initiative than what Paizo's trying to do. And, you know, I say that as a Paizo stan. I just wish some of these would do a little bit better. Like, the Eberron book, it's so good. Eberron's so good. Frost Maiden's so good. The Van Richter stuff is, There it is, yeah. So, like, I see the art, you know, it's a little bit more different, stylized, compared to stuff, and I think that's interesting. I crave that uniformity in some way or fashion. A little bit better than this. I wish I would have made more coffee than I did. Normally I don't drink it very, very fast, and I don't drink at all. So the other thing that I kind of had slated for today that I wanted to talk about. So the thing that was brought up that I hard disagreed with was an interpretation of the starter set versus the Essentials kit. And I'm just closing out my millions of tabs that I opened up for those covers. I opened up my email. Yesterday, some friends of mine stated that the Essentials kit is bare bones and you should get the starter set instead. And a huge problem I have with that comes from the fact that they're ignoring that these are all meant to be a starter and essential kit. It's not meant to give you a huge story to delve into. It's supposed to be a kicking off point. And they're detailing also from this based off of the adventures, Lost Mine of Phandelver and Dragonmire Spire Peak, which is, I think, an unfair way to go about recommendation for these, because these kits come with more than just an adventure. A lot more. So the starter set, for instance, comes with the adventure book that the DM can use. Also, kind of to know the rules, whatever, to run the game. A small essentials rule book for characters, levels 1 through 5, and pre-gens and dice. I think that is good. I mean, no, it's absolutely a starter set. Like, that's what it comes with. The essentials kit comes with a lot more. In terms of, well, actually, I think, yeah, okay, it does comes with dice. So things that the Essentials kit comes with is dice, maps, helps you build characters, like step by step, how to do it, for new people, an adventure where it's really meant to help be a starting point for you and your friends to come up with new stuff. And tell a story, a shared story, versus a set adventure. It comes with portrait cards and NPCs. They give you a way to play it one-on-one, so you don't have to have a group of 5 people to even play it. You can just right out the bat go ahead with your friends, and they give you sidekicks you can use. to like show how to work with it still and go through this game. It comes with cards for the different magic items. They just comes with a lot of different tools. Oh, it comes with a DM screen too, which is nice. And I think they're taking for granted that they all play online right now. And so they're not getting that full benefit of what you get between the Essentials Kit and the Starter Set. If you're specifically looking at which one puts you through a story specifically, then I'd say, sure, Phandelver gives you that track. It like shows you point A to point B, you know, a bit of it, of what to do. I, however, fully disagree with their, fuck it. Let's look at Dragons of Icespire Peak. I don't want to do too much in the sense that I don't want to, like, if you haven't played it and you're going to play it or anything like that, you know, I'm sorry. This will be kind of filled with a bit of spoilers, but I think it's so unfair to say there's no story. I think that's such a mentality that you can't have in this, because yeah, I mean, I've kind of flopped. I used to hate doing pre-written adventures, and I've almost exclusively done homebrew stuff. Even now, both D&D games that I run have been homebrewed, not any special adventures. But I do appreciate adventures more now, and I think a lot of people, like, when they get into D&D, they are given the promise that they can do anything. That's what a lot of people, like, kind of, you share that hobby with someone and you're like, hey, yeah, this is where you can do anything you want. You can do all these different things and it's exciting. Lost Mine of Phandelver really does have a linear story to it. There's a small section in Lost Mine that you can, let me open this up, do different things, I believe. Part 1, Part 3, Part 1. Yes, Part 3 in Phandelver. It opens up to kind of do different things and explore the area in the same exact way, as you're trying to figure out what's going on, basically, to come to the conclusion. Let's see here. Right, okay. I'm just looking specifically at the... Okay, yeah. It's very specific. Like, the starter set's very in media res. Which I like in media res. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to, like, suggest otherwise. I used to... Yeah, that's fair. There's just a lot to them. I don't think Wizards or even Paizo are good at writing adventures in that way. Oh, good morning, Talmaru. I think with modules, they just give you so much unnecessary things for running the game that it becomes information overload to begin with. Oh yeah, the Candlekeep are interesting. I have I found some things that I have gripes with Candlekeep, and I think that part of that is just I know it's an editor's job to cut down on content because people tend to overwrite, but there's some things that I wish Candlekeep would have had. They're meant to be short form adventures that you kind of like go into, and I think the idea is you can. They're all for different levels, but I think the idea is that you can kind of just jump into them in any way or form, or like they're things you can just kind of get into if you need them. So modules in general here, from Wizards, and even Paizo, they're just so verbose for no reason, I feel. And when you don't have experience with something else, you don't realize it at first, and it becomes so intimidating to try and run and like read through and memorize. But for instance, I don't know if you've ever played or heard of Call of Cthulhu or Delta Green. So Delta Green is just based off Call of Cthulhu, and it's a modern day special agents fighting. It's Call of Cthulhu in a post 9/11 world, where like there's an agency that called Delta Green that kind of goes out for in like the American sense, and like it's like an American agency to deal with stuff like Cthulhu-esque stuff. I think if you're publishing something like that, like 12,000, I would say it's... If you're publishing something, I don't know, it might be a bit much. I mean, obviously you're doing different sections, and like, if you're doing like a world building, like a settings book, you know, breaking it down into sections is good. But if your campaign is... I think campaign primers are... good. They're absolutely, I think, one of the more necessary things that people don't talk about. Oh, well, that's fun. Some good to see people connecting in the chat. I think modules. Oh, what was I saying? Campaign primers are good if you're writing for your friends. It's just you can't, as someone who has written backstories and have received backstories and deal with that, I know at some point if you write too much, your players aren't even going to read it because it becomes homework for them, and they will not do homework, and it's annoying. So it's not like it's bad. It's hard for me to specifically visualize what 1,200 words look like off the top of my head. So I don't know exactly how long that is, but it's, you know, it's probably, I think there's ways to cut down and be verbose. I don't know how to, I think it's auto banned. I think links are auto banned. I don't know. I don't know how to fix that. Otherwise I'd say go for it. And we could go through and look at it. But I legit don't know how to unban links. In fact, you can see, I'm gonna, so if you look at this, so like even my own Streamlabs, has banned links. So like I don't know what I'm doing with that. So, you know, we'll get there someday. Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I was in the middle of. So I think, oh yeah, so Delta Green, which is based off Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu, or Delta Green is based off Call of Cthulhu. Okay, yeah. I think, let's see. Oh, yeah, it's only like 3-ish pages. I think that's fine. I'm like looking, just skimming over it. If anything, I would break it down into a few bit more, maybe like sectionize it a bit. So that way I think it's easier for people to reference things in it. Like kind of make, like it looks like there's like, it's like a timeline of events like that's kind of happened. I would almost break it down for accessibility for people. Because I think the easier people can reference something like that, it like can go through. Yeah. No, that's what it was reading like. Has an introduction though. I think. Let's see here. It might be if it's not. Yeah. I think that's fine though. I think that's fine. Yeah. It's 3 pages. It's something you're the biggest thing I'd be worried about with this is whether or not your players actually read it. Just because it is like about 3 pages or so, and that sounds weird to say, like 3 pages isn't a lot, but literally if you give anyone any kind of homework, 3 pages is like 300. So I think that would be all I'd worry about. Yeah. So I guess it really depends on you and your players specifically. So, in that sense. Okay, so Delta Green. Delta Green has a competition that they do called Shotgun Scenarios, which are just, I think, like 1,000 word competitions, or I think it's like 1,000 word or something like that. 1,000 word scenario competitions. And it's like you basically submit in an easy one-off game. Like it's a nice, like something you can, like if your players, if someone's not there and you don't want to continue with the main story without them, you can just drop it in. It's meant to be a module. You just drop in and you can play in a session. And after reading all of these shotgun scenarios, yeah, it's basically a one-shot. And it's meant to be something your players can just go into and go through, and it's like a drop-in type thing. And it's so the fact, like the way all of them are phrased is so inspiring as a writer. Let me see. Having found these, I am now like, holy shit, why is D&D so verbose? Oh, absolutely. I think one-shots are really good because you can just kind of drop in and you're not missing something if you drop into a one-shot, like a ongoing campaign. So like, I'm just gonna go as an example. I'm gonna look at the winner of 2020, Deep in the Bayou by Carl Lloyd. Literally, oh my gosh. So they have the hook, which is a sentence. The setup, like a 3-sentence paragraph or so, maybe 4. They basically just give you the base information you need, because they know the GM's not going to memorize a lot of things, and it's easier. It's so much easier to just give you what you need to know. They give you some stats for things, which is good. I'm gonna look at another one. Let's see. Cause it's sorry, that one's also pretty big. Okay, this guy didn't write it very well. not the one I was talking, not the first place, but another one I saw. It's not very good at section, But yeah, like it's a lot of these is basically, here's the place. A successful this kind of like check gives you this information. And then they kind of go on to the next thing. They give you like such a small amount of information about the thing so you can fill it yourself. And you might think, oh, that puts a lot of work on the DM, just fill it themselves. But I think it puts a lot more work on the DM to have to read through and sift through and figure out what is or is not important. Because then you start getting overwhelmed by what do you memorize? How do you know what's going on? And I think it's so much better. So like for instance, I'm looking here at, what is this called? The Truth? Is that the name? No. What is this one called? Oh, this one's called Home by Hank. Yeah, an outline is significantly better as a tool for DMs than what they include in any D&D adventure. They just don't give you a lot of room. They just throw information at you, and they don't give you a lot of room with it, I think. So like the Home, this one's called Home, so it's got the truth. And so the section of the truth tells you what actually is happening. So you as a player, you as a DM, you just from the outset, you have an idea of what is actually the issue here. And as long as you know the root of what's going on in a story, it's so much easier to improv everything, right? Instead of finding, the truth, like the ending at the end, as a reader, as a DM who's reading it. I think leading with the truth is so much nicer. Let's see here. Then they've got the hook, the town. They give you very, very brief information on this. And then, like, for instance, they have leads. So this one's like the infant, without going in through the hook. I'll read the hook on this. The hook. Recently, the mother has given birth to a stillborn child. The family buried the child in a field nearby where it was uncovered by some kids playing baseball. The discovery of extremely deformed child catches Delta Green's attention, along with the steadily growing list of missing persons in the area, and the agents are sent to investigate to make sure there isn't anything unnatural with the deformities. And this is a small rural town in Pennsylvania, and leads. The infant, the deceased infant, is being kept at the police station's coroner's office. Examine the body reveals dirt in the lungs. It was buried alive, and extensive genetic deformities, some verging on the inhuman. A successful medicine check or appropriate science roll reveals as much information as the handler wishes, or by percentage. And they give you like different ways of different levels of success give you more information, and like the crime scene, they give like a sense on the crime scene, the graveyard. So like crime scene, a simple history roll confirms the common knowledge in the town that the Cranes are an agoraphobic and probably inbred family. So like, there's just they just give you the bullet points of like the most essential information to run this. A one shot in D&D would be is a lot more than 1,000 words. And I think it just leaves it to be harder to speed up as you need. And I say they're more than 1,000 words. I'm pretty sure they definitely are. I think I've read through the some of the Adventure League stuff, which is supposed to be one shots. They're like, you can play them 2 to 4 hours by cutting things out or speeding things up. They're supposed to be. But I think the writing just is so much. Yeah. The writing is just so much cleaner in these Delta Green stuff. And not even just the shotgun scenarios that people are writing for the competition. And I'm sorry, like, the what's it called? The Need to Know guide, I think is what it's called. It's like a starter set for Delta Green. The adventure in the back of that, it reads so cleanly, and it doesn't just give you a bunch of nonsense. Not that necessarily it is just always nonsense, but it's just smoother to read, and like run as a DM. My only issue with I'll say, I've mentioned several times that I've mentioned several times, as a Paizo stan, I think the Paizo adventures for Pathfinder significantly better stories than the ones for Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast, however, probably does have a little bit more stricter guidelines on things, because everything is supposed to, even though there is like a soft timeline, everything is written to be that it can be played at any time in any order. But overall, I don't know. I feel like they could do better than what they do. Okay, so back to my defense of Dragons of Icefire Peak. Now that we're talking about, now that I've just said, there's stuff to be desired. I'm still gonna come back around now to defending Dragons of Icefire Peak. It where am I looking at here? Ugh. Where is this? Okay. So I was told, I've mentioned, like, they say it's a skeleton and there's no story to it. Which I think the fact that there's a skeleton makes it good. I think it makes it a better game. I guess if you're looking for it depends. I think it's how you run it. I think how you run the game will show whether or not there's a story. I think the story of a dragon coming in and disrupting the local ecosystem, and like you are kind of like you're off to like help solve these problems in this town. That's this newly up and coming town with that just started getting rich off of its mine. I think that is a very serviceable story. I think it's from the onset you're supposed to fight a dragon at some point. You know that the dragon's nearby, or you find it out through some of the job postings. And it's lets players. This is something that I've ranted about before, but I think too many people don't realize D&D is a shared game. Too many people put the onus of the work on the GM instead of letting players or having players do work also. And I think the verboseness of D&D adventures and stuff only adds to that issue. Because if it's already bad enough that you're the one doing all the work, but now you also have to do this massive amount of homework and memorize it, and your players may or may not pay attention. So I think the Essentials kit is better as a story. Because it allows the players to help build the story. and like, they get to pick and choose the order that they do things in. They get to come to, like, different conclusions, and, like, they get to find their own drives on this. And I think it's I think I think when you look at the D&D experience and what people want out of D&D, I think this promise of you can do anything is better fulfilled in the Essentials kit than it is in the starter set. The fact that they give you guides to build characters, there's options. You don't even have to give them all of the options at once, especially since a lot of them aren't or like higher level stuff, but like you kind of get that idea, and it teaches you that you can run and not everything is gonna go well. The dragon can show up at any time you want them to, and I think that's a interesting way to approach a story. I think it's a good way of it. I'm also a big fan of implementing random tables a lot more into your stories. And like the more the dragon shows up, the more of a credible threat it feels like. Where if the dragon only shows up once or not at all, it does feel like this far off thing. I don't know. I just don't think the story is as bad as everyone that all my friends say it is. It's so to just dismiss it as the dragon comes and disrupts the local ecosystem as a story, like just to dismiss it like that, I think is very unfair, and I think you're putting too much onus on what a story has to be. Looking at the Lost Mines of Phandelver, I don't know. Let's see here. Again, like, I think a large chunk of the game of Phandalin, or Lost Mine of Phandelver, plays exactly like Dragon of Icespire Peak already. So it's just a weird... I don't know, I think it's a more... I just think the story is a lot better version in Dragons of Icespire Peak. Where's it? They had where is it? Shoot. I think something that my friends, shout out to them. They ran Lost Mines of Phandelver, and then they ran Dragons of Icespire Peak as a sequel. So like they had different characters, but it all took place in the same world, the same universe. Just like I think like 2 years later, something like that. Maybe a few months. I don't remember exactly what they did with it. But the idea is something's changed based off how they played it the first time. So the story wasn't always set out exactly as it is from the beginning because they chose to do that. And I think that misses an important piece of the beginning of Dragon of Icespire Peak. And that is that Phandalin is now a up-and-coming town with riches because of their mine. And they... I don't want to do too many spoilers, but that wasn't exactly the case for their version of Phandalin. So it's just a little bit more awkward that there's a reason for a job board. That there's a reason for you to come there for jobs. Where in Dragon of Icespire Peak... I think it's totally normal. You're trying to make money. You're trying to make it big. You're trying to live the adventurer's life. You're gonna come to Phandalin, where there's money to be made now, where there's odd jobs you can do. And I think that zero to hero coming for jobs and making friends, to defeating a dragon who's now there's so much promise of glory to it. It's that you can be a hero moment. Dragon, I think Lost Mine of Phandelver doesn't promise you that. It does start in media res, and it does. Oops, I didn't mean to. Sorry, I lost my mark. you do get to do it's in media res, which I like. I do prefer that. I start all of my stuff almost in media res tutorial type mode, so people get used to their characters. However, I don't know. I think there's more to be desired in this one, in Lost Mine. What's next? Yeah, so I'm looking at it, and like you get like a little bit, because it's the goblins and then the red brands, and then it becomes open world, like a sandbox for you to like learn and do stuff. Very, very exactly like Phandelver, where you're finding out clues about the world and like what's going on in each of those adventures. But if you're not, how am I saying this? If you aren't running it well, then there's no story. If you're not picking up the information that the adventure lays down for you and using that for the story, then there's no story. Looking at Lost Mine Phandelver, it's just, I think it's exactly the same. Like, the majority of the game, the part 3, is very similar to Dragon of Icespire Peak. It's the writing's very similar. The adventure types of like all over the place, exploring the region near Phandalin is exactly the same. I think there is just more to discover and more to there's more to discover in Dragon of Icespire Peak as adventures, hidden things, I think, and then there's also just more that your players get to do in controlling the story in Dragon of Icespire Peak. I think a good story for role-playing follows more of that. I think the writing needs to follow more of a skeleton outline than it does a novel. Otherwise, my coffee's already cold. It wasn't even that much to begin with. Cold coffee. It just, I cannot agree that Dragon of Icespire Peak is a worse adventure. I think it's written just fine. I think it's, I'm trying to see what some of these are. It's just good. I don't know what more to say about it. It's just, it's the story is there. I think the story is serviceable. I don't see how that is a worse story than trying to stop a dragon from fucking up the town. Stop an ongoing dragon attack is a worse story than stopping someone from finding and getting access to a mine or like a forge or something. I just think that they are equally there. It's just how you tell it, and that's not meant to throw shade at the DM, but reading it, I think it reads better to me than Lost Mine of Phandelver. Sorry, so I got through that finally. I'm looking at the chat. Rumors of Spelljammer coming back. Obviously, this is just me talking, not necessarily like I don't know anything special. I could see it. There's two clues, I think, that really help bring Spelljammer back. And that is a Spelljammer appearing in Dungeon of the Mad Monk, I think is what it's called. There's a non-functional Spelljammer in there. And Tasha's Cauldron of Everything has a spell that allows you to travel between the different realms. I think it was like something of the Blue Veil or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But those are two good clues towards Spelljammer being a thing again. That'd be nice. I think instead, though, they should focus on... I'm going to go into my actual critiques of the adventures of D&D. My critique is they need to get out of the Sword Coast. I am sick of the Sword Coast. That's kind of it. All of their extra settings and adventures, there's only one of them that is set in the Forgotten Realms that takes place outside of the Sword Coast, and that is Tomb of Annihilation. Everything else that is in the Forgotten Realms is in the goddamn Sword Coast. Not even just the Sword Coast, not even like the whole fucking coast, just the northern Sword Coast. Icewind Dale, it's a little bit better out of there, but it is literally just north. It's literally just what is north of the northern Sword Coast. So yeah, Waterdeep. Both Waterdeep stories, Lost Mine of Phandelver, Dragons of Icespire Peak. I'm pretty sure that the Rise of Tiamat takes place on the Sword Coast. You know what? Let me before I just descend into Avernus. Takes place in Baldur's Gate, which is on the Sword Coast, and then goes into Hell. So it's not even like a place on... It's hard to go... it's hard to view Descent into Avernus. You know what? Okay, I'll take it back. Out of the Abyss. Out of the Abyss takes place in the Underdark. I like that. I don't necessarily like the writing of Out of the Abyss, but I do like that it takes place in the Underdark. However, I want to just see more surface, like, plain area. I want to see more things like Tomb of Annihilation, where we're focused above ground, like on what feels like a normal D&D adventure, just in a setting that's not the Sword Coast. But they have a hard time with that. They have to, like, if it's not on the Sword Coast, their go-to is somewhere dramatically different. Whether that's a different plane, whether that's a different setting altogether. That's why I like Ghosts of the Saltmarsh, because that one feels like a normal D&D adventure above the surface in an area, and it's not the Sword Coast because it's in Greyhawk. I don't fully remember what the City of Magic Users is called. Otherwise, I would comment. But I do not recall. They just, I don't know. That's my biggest gripe is the adventures. In the adventures is the setting. I just wish it was more. And you know, coming and maybe it's because I come from enjoying Pathfinder, where every adventure path, like, is played in a different region of the land. I really like that, and you get to explore so much more of the world. Maybe it's because maybe I'm spoiled in that sense. Maybe if I didn't come from that, I wouldn't notice. But kind of wish it was just they had a little bit more to it. Oh, you know what? I wanted to talk about Candlekeep Mysteries, actually. So, I like Candlekeep as a concept. I like the anthologies. I like their anthology books, like Ghost of Saltmarsh, Candlekeep, Tales from the Yawning Portal, because it gives you modules you can just drop into your adventure, which I think modules are significantly more useful than pre-written adventures. I think a module is something you can just drop in when you need it, and it works, and you can make things happen. Where the adventure, it's hard to really do more than just what the adventure wants you to do. And if you're down someone, it's hard to do anything different. Where if it's your own stuff, a module, or even in an adventure, you can just drop in modules to make it work. Let's see here. What am I looking at? There is specifically, yeah. So a problem I have with Candlekeep, though, other than that, I mean, I like that it is just modules, like little fun modules you can do. I learned that from one of the writers that they basically cut a lot of interesting content, and I don't like how they treated some of their stuff because of that. So, for instance, the writer for the Book of Cylinders on Twitter had talked about his experience with the Book of Cylinders and what he wrote versus what got published. For instance, let me just see where it comes up. I'm not seeing where he's talking about it, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Where is it? He mentions that they talk about it being, I don't want to say savage, I just don't remember exactly what the wording was. He mentioned that the way they talked about some of the stuff, that it was very, I'd have to read through it again. But he to figure out where exactly he's talking about. But he alleged that he wanted to move away from like referring to them as like savage and stuff like that, or like barbaric or some way. And I don't find those exact words in the story anywhere. Just from a simple search, I don't remember exactly where it appears that he mentions it. But he said that he wanted to move away from that language, but they ended up doing it anyway in the editing, which is very unfortunate because if you don't know anything about the Book of Cylinders, it's an adventure surrounding a race called the Gripply, which are like little tree frog people, humanoids. They are super cool, and I love Gripply so much, so I'm a little bit more invested in this story out of all of them. So it's just really unfortunate that they would move towards that, because they're just like they're different. It's just weird to call them like some kind of savage or primal. Yeah, they're just more interesting. Like bullywugs, I think, are like the gross frog people, where like Gripply are the cool frog people that you want to play. And here's the thing. The writer also mentioned that he included stats so you can play Gripplies. Like he introduced for his adventure the ability to make Gripply characters for 5th edition. And they cut that out of the book, which I'm very disappointed with, because I fucking love Gripplies. So they gave him stats for like a monster, but oh my gosh, I want to play Gripplies. All I want is just to play Gripplies. I don't even like frogs, but Gripplies are my absolute favorite.
the fact that they cut it kind of bothers me. I think there's things you can cut if you want to get to things, but I don't know. And again, I'm like reading through these sections. Even the Book of Cylinders, I will say, is very verbose compared to what you should have to know. And they could have absolutely had room to make it a character, a character race, but they didn't. I mean, I don't know exactly what the issue. I mean, I think it's easy to convert also, or like be like, hey, can you do this or that or whatnot. And is it? It's one of the shorter ones, I think. Yeah, that and The Price of Beauty are two of the shorter ones. Yeah, I mean, so again, I like the modules. I think it's good to just drop in. I might, knowing what I know about the fact that they cut certain things or like moved in certain directions, I think is stupid. Compared to like what the writers did. Not that writers deserve full reign. I'm in the camp of you can't be a good writer if you don't have a good editor to help you realize what you're doing wrong. But at the same time, I feel like we missed out on one of the single best player races in D&D because they decided they weren't gonna introduce them. They're just so much more interesting than some of the shit we do have. I'm swearing a lot for the show. I didn't want to swear so much, but I get worked up. So like for instance, I would rather have a Gripply than almost, I'll say half of what comes in the Elemental Evil Player's Guide, or Elemental Evil Player's Companion. Actually, I would have... Never mind, I take it back. I would have it over everything in the Elemental Evil Player's Companion. Half of Volo's Guide to Monsters, I'd rather have a Gripply. Pretty much any of the Magic the Gathering races, I'd rather have a Gripply. They have the Grung. They made the Grung. But we don't have Gripply. And that's just sad. They're coming up with Rabbit Folk and Owl Folk and got Hobgoblin of the Feywild before they give us Gripplys, which is sad. We deserve more interesting races. The Dragonborn, I think, is starts there. Having access to some of the Volo's Guide to Monster races, like goblins and kobolds and lizard folks and tabaxi, I think that's good. But we just need Gripply. We need more frog people, man. Like that's really all we need. Normally, a second half, I'd try to design something, but I just didn't have. I thought I was going to get through a lot more with my talking about Dragon by Spire Peak, so I did not have something on hand that I wanted to design. So I guess, you know what? I want to... Yeah, I mean, I think that might be it. I don't want to go too long if I don't have anything specific I want to say. I think it's a little bit harder to, keep it up otherwise. So I think from that point on, we can kind of end there. I think I'll try to get. I'll prep a little bit more for something we can design on stream next time. But I guess I'll leave you. I want to leave you with a few things. One, if you're just starting D&D, I absolutely would recommend the Essentials Kit. If just because of all the stuff that it comes with, and it's a little bit more in depth than the starter set, so you can get a better experience out of it. I would check out Fate Core. I will never not stan Fate because it's such a good system. I'm always looking for Pathfinder players. So if someone's interesting, if you know someone who's interesting on camera, always looking for that. And you can find me on Twitter at Bumbleskum. I know I have in the About Me section, I have all my links. You can just click on the image. You can get the different areas, whether it's the Discord for the Interdimensional Library, just as a reminder, this weekend, we will not be recording the Interdimensional Library, our Frontier Psychology campaign. It will be back not the 5th, but the 12th. The 5th, this Saturday, I've got something special I got to work on. But you can always catch up on the campaign for that on the YouTube, the Interdimensional Library, where I put all of the Fate campaign stuff that we're running. And I'm trying to upload more stuff from, video versions of the podcasts that I've done. I've got 2 campaigns that I was running that I have a backlog of stuff. So hopefully that'll get more into there. But otherwise, you can get more information. I do this show every Monday morning at 4 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you want to come back and listen to that, that'd be fantastic. I love talking with some people in the morning, having a nice cup of coffee, talking D&D. And I think that's pretty much it. Thanks everyone for coming in, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.